So that's that. The opening is so iconic. I can spend the next 2 hours on it, and we were not going to go any further than that. So I would like to come back to it if I have time at the end. I would like to start with this beautiful singing melody starting from there. Could you start from here? Well, did I just use the word phrase? How long was that phrase? Is it like the 4-bar symmetrical phrases we see in Mozart and Haydn?
Nope.
No? Do you know how many bars that was? How many measures? Couldn't even count. It was really long. That was a really, really long phrase. And that's why it's so beautiful. While during this phrase is going on, could you tell when it's going to end? No. You know, if you're listening to a Mozart phrase or Haydn phrase, sometimes you can tell when the end is coming, like Haydn's is coming. We don't get it here. It takes flight and it's suspended in air. And we have to do something about that. Now, what does that mean? Called anima. Anybody knows?
With life, with animation.
That's a really good guess. Almost right. That's animatum. Yes, so close. Called anima, anybody else knows? A very, very common mistake. With soul. With soul. Now, what kind of instrument sings with soul? Not your question. What kind of instrument, including the human body, has the capability of singing with soul?
The voice.
The voice, thank you. And that's what this is about. It's singing, human voice singing with soul. Now, those notes you played are beautiful. They're not quite soulful. I don't hear the soul in it. Now, how do you make piano note sing with soul? This is a percussion instrument. The hammer hits the string, that's the end of that. How do we make a melody sing with soul? Can you just play the melody, the right hand actually? Okay, that F, the first note F. Well, that's soulful? Not really. So how do we make that note sing, make it ring, right? Let me try to start with here. Now, if you just play, that's what happens. There are two notes going on here. Geez, this is the beginning of the melody. What interval is this?
Tritone.
Tritone. My goodness gracious, it's starting out the melody with a tritone. All right, let's make the tritone sing. We're going to talk a lot about relationship here today. So, how do we make a note sing? First, you gotta play the bottom of the keys. You can't stay shallow here, right? Nobody even says piano there. The dynamic is up for our interpretation to some degree. It's probably not fortissimo, but definitely not pianissimo. And we need to voice the melody more than that, otherwise all we hear is that tritone, right? I'm going very slowly, because what am I trying to do? Try to make the melody sing with soul. You hear that? It's a process of experimenting and listening with your ear. Does that note carry? I call these notes, when they have to sing, your last person in the 3,000-seat auditorium who couldn't afford the $150 ticket of front row has to hear it sing. I don't care what the dynamic is. It could be triple piano, but that poor fella in the last row has to hear the same kind of singing quality as the front row person does. Okay, can you try that? Slightly better. It's a little louder. Can you relax your arm, please? Your arm weighs way more than this. Alice, you're a very slender girl, but your arm weighs more than this. Now relax completely. Couch potato. There we go. Now, don't play. I'll play for you. I got her fourth finger. If I have all that weight. Imagine this is the bottom of the key. You're not playing on the top. And relax all the weight, except here. You're not relaxing there. And let it ring and sing. Can you try it? Not play. Better. Let it travel far, imagining this is a huge hall. Better. Don't be afraid. Those two notes are the same. We want the top. So sing more. Better. So who's doing the job here? This is us practicing here, trying to make this better. But the body part that's doing what I'm asking her to do is not her hand, is this. We've got to listen for it. Use your ears. If you're hearing it, whether you did it or didn't do it, that's the first step. Then you can try to make it better. Can we go, let's forget about the rhythms for now, just one note at a time. Make sure every note is to the bottom of the key, relaxed, and sings and rings. Better. Good point there. Did you guys hear this melody? Is that what you heard? Now, tell them was actually, tell what you're playing was actually written here, from right here. You try. It's the second voice. There's a bottom voice singing. Now, I know it has an accent there, but they can't interfere each other. It's a duet. I wonder what kind of duet this is. Let's talk about relationship here, because it's all about relationship in this piece or any piece we play. Okay? So first we have to make sure the note rings. So that each one of them is singing with soul. When you don't make the note ring, there's no soul in that. Okay? So let's try one more time. Which pedal? Now, a little bit. More at the top. Yes. You're making me jealous here because I can't reach that interval myself. She can. Now it rings a little better. Not 100% there, but you're on your way. Try to listen for it. Okay? So now each note has a little bit soul. We have to connect them. What we call legato music, right? Well, legato is not just this. Connect the note, don't lift up your finger, don't play staccato. Maybe that's the case when you were this little, but not at this level. Now, legato is about relationship between the notes. Right now, you've got your notes singing a little bit better, but I call them, these are a bunch of notes, kind of like your 500,000 Twitter followers or 350 Facebook friends. They don't have a relation with each other. They're there, you know they are. They may even have a name and a face. But they don't talk to each other, and they're not related to each other. We need real relationship. Not your retweet, I like, I don't like, thumb up, thumb down kind of relationship. We need them to talk to each other, to sing to each other. Now, how does that happen? Singing, we got to listen to the note after you have played them. You guys hear that? Now, what's the relationship between this F to the next E flat? What do you think? Or you guys, anybody? It's a full step down. Yes, that's correct. It is a whole step down. Now, that I tell people, your note has to relate to each other. That relationship can be love, it can be friendship, it can even be jealousy, it can even be hate, God forbid. But it has to have some sort of relationship. It has to talk to each other. Now, this relationship, where does tritone have to go if he was being a good composer? It resolves. Not a proper resolution, not quite, but better. If he resolved truly properly, it would be, or there we go, that would be much better, right? But no, the E flat comes out of the F. So let's listen to the after sound of the F and develop that note into the E flat. For one, it's a continuation of the same phrase. For two, it sort of kind of alleviates that tension of the tritone just a little bit, but not completely. That's the whole point. It's conflicted relationship all the way through. Relationships are complicated, guys. So it is not a full resolution. It just softens up a little bit and makes you still wonder what's going to happen. So the F goes on. And then rises up, and it's like, okay, I just can't give up that tritone, but I still have that conflict, arriving at different times. And it goes on, rises up. Perhaps we can sing this out, we can solve all our problems, and explore that possibility so your melody tells the story. Literally, from the notes, how they relate to each other. Can we go one more again? Those two notes don't talk to each other right now. Can we listen to the F? A little bit more. Listen, can you guys hear it? Okay, that's exaggerating it, because it's not that long. Relax. Too tight. Better. The after sound. See how much F you have left. Listen. Can you guys all hear that? Let's hear it first. The longer I wait, the more faint it's going to become, and the less my E flat is going to be. Fortunately, this note is not that long, so there should be plenty F left for you to work that you thought in. More. Better. Ooh, wait, this is going up. Rising up, so let's go up to the G flat. Let's go on an accent too on it. For the first time, we resolved the tritone. Did you guys hear that? Yay! Mission accomplished, only it got really complicated along the way. But we got there. Somehow it worked itself out. Boy, it didn't sound like a resolution at all, did it, when you played it? But it is. It's a complicated relationship that somehow we managed to work out that tritone and give it a proper resolution. Only 1, 2, 3, 2 measures, 3 measures too late. Okay, can we try one more time from there? I'll do it for you. Let's do this. How about just do that to interval. Oops, yes. Work on that. right? It is that satisfaction of resolving the tritone. So we have to sing it. And that's what I mean by having relationship with each other. Those notes have to talk to each other. And not just talk casually talking, but listen to each other. It's what we don't do anymore, is to listen to each other, truly listen to each other. Face to face, have a meaningful conversation. These notes, listen to it. For that resolution, of course, it got really complicated along the way, and we have to somehow work that out. Okay? So that's just one example. It takes time to work through a passage like this. Guys, relationship takes time and patience and hard work. Write that down. All right, let's go to here. I want to just quickly work through this passage a little bit. Actually, can you just play the right hand? Triplet is not very accurate. Da, ya, da, da, da. Triplet. There was a little dot in rhythm going on. Da, 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 da. We're putting a dot there. Okay. But I want to talk about that soprano line. I heard da, da, dee, da, da, da. Is that what you guys heard? Ya, da, dee, ya, da. Now what's actually written here is not that. It's not two little phrases being interrupted by a second voice down there. It's one long phrase. Like that. So we need to sing that E. It's not very convenient for the finger because you've got to hold it. But more importantly, you have to feel that connection of that E. Oops. Hear that? Can you still hear it? So instead of going, which you have nothing left by the time you have to play the next E, can we perhaps crescendo into it? So we have enough left. Again, relationship. Grows up and then come down from that. A little too soft there. Can you try it? You broke right before that. We just do the soprano. Don't worry about alto. Change finger. 4. There's another rule in unspoken rule, I guess. Unless you're playing Steve Reich, Philip Glass, or Stravinsky, and sometimes we always say you never play the same thing the same way twice. Okay? If it is a repeated note, repeated chord, repeated passage, there's something has to happen. So we have 2 E's in a row. Very inconvenient finger, because if you see her, she has to twist her pinky. Get a legato. Switch your finger, make it a lot easier to play legato. Okay, let's try that. Let's stay on that. As long as you can. Try it again. Better. That's better. It's more legato. Because you know what? When boy singers sing this, they can use one breath. They don't have to go again. For pianists, we're playing the same note again. Guess what you have to do? Lift up the finger and restrike the key. So we have to fight against every instinct, every bit of that of the piano, the percussion instrument, and actually make the legato happen. What's the best way to practice this? Exactly what I just did. Sing with your human voice, with soul on these melodies, every single note. Even though it doesn't say con anima here, I think we should make every note in our playing con anima, with soul. Every single note we sing has to have a soul. Now, what shape or form might be different, but right here, absolutely. That's bad news. We're not perfect. I can't make it come out exactly the way I like it every single time. That's what practice is for. We practice and practice and practice, and hopefully by the time we deliver our stage, it's going to come out the way we envision it, we want it. But the first step is you have to have a want. You have to have a vision. What should this sound like? And I would change all of this in that shape rather than that just broke up the phrases into two. And then what's so wonderful Chopin does is that he does this. Once, and then twice. Third time, but the fourth time, he added a third element to it, so it's not just two together, it's three together. The phrases get longer and longer and longer. So dealing with these we'll call French phrases is that they take off and they float suspending there, they expand, they sing, and they somehow end without us noticing they got ended. So these phrases require a lot of design singing quality to it, including what's coming up here. So difficult, you're playing Leggero, not pretty good, pretty well. It's not heavy, but it's your half million Twitter follower. There's lots of them. They're pretty clear. They're technically correct. They don't sing, and they don't relate to each other. You need to sing it like human voice would sing it. Now, you guys are singers. Is this easy or difficult to sing? If you had to sing that.
Well, but also hard because you have to
range of arpeggio. Who sings arpeggio, right? So it happened to be very pianistic. It fits the hand really well, pretty easy to play. But it's not easy to sing, so we cannot. This is called retreater followers with no relationship to each other. We need to give them a relationship. The way human voice would sing these phrases. So if you can carry home with this one idea of relationship between the notes. Now we haven't gone to the beginning. If I had more time, I'll talk about the relationship between notes and rests. Because this is more specific, particular to this piece, this iconic opening. Every single rest means something. I teach my students always, you have to learn how to play the rests. Most of you are pretty good at playing the notes on time. Most of you are not very good at playing the rests. Okay? We're not only responsible for playing the note, we're also equally responsible, even more responsible for releasing those notes. They're equally important. So really think about that. The relationship between the notes, how to sing the melody, each note with a soul, and the relationship between the rests. Of course, go back and study the notes and make sure each repetition is what it's supposed to be. But very good job, and thank you very much for being here today, audience included. And this is just a little snapshot of what we do at Geneva and how a lesson would run. This would be very similar to a weekly private lesson you would have in the studio. So if you're more interested about us, you can visit us at www.geneva.edu. Thank you very much for watching.